Hey guys, thank you for helping me grow my channel so quickly and so much. Welcome to Listen to Your Inner You. My website is listentoyourinneryou.com and you can book sessions on there. And yeah, that'd be lovely to help you out other than to just reply to questions online. So I think once in a while, if I get a really great question that's very specific, I'm going to start answering them in a video. And I hope that this one is okay. I just got one on an older video I posted a while ago. And the person says, this concept of everything is created by us is hard to accept when a circumstance I never envisioned or would wish on anyone. How do you accept those things and go with the flow knowing you can create an opposite scenario? The old story constantly wants to pop up and triggers me for sure. I can create from here, but I want to create from there, and I don't know how to get over there, if that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, actually. There's a bunch of things going on, so I will go sentence by sentence or question by question. So first of all, he says, this concept of everything is created by us is hard to accept when a circumstance I never envisioned or would wish on anyone. How do you accept those things and go with the flow, knowing you can create an opposite scenario? Actually, those are two. So the first part is the concept of everything is created by us. First of all, that is also not true. Everything has already been created. Yay, English. I'm just going to speak German from now on. Everything has already been created. So that actually takes a lot of stress off, in my opinion. When you realize everything is already here, and by the time it reaches your mind and you think of it, it's already been created by the universe, by your higher self. It's already there. And it just is now being activated and say, hey, you're ready for this desire. You just have to maybe clear some things out or become a different person. Like with your core beliefs and shit, right? Anyway, so first of all, everything has already been created. Hooray! That should take a lot of stress off of you because now you don't have to create it anymore. It's already there. You have to ask for it. You have to say, okay, I want this. This sounds amazing. I love that desire, right? And then we go to focus work and believe and resistance and detaching, right? You do those 4 steps that Amy teaches that I like to teach as well. So I want you to remember, you don't have to create anything. You're not creating anything. Everything has already been created. You already have it on the inside. It's my other video from the other day. Already there. Everything is already on the inside, and you have to see the 3D world as a separate world. If you currently kind of see them as one because you're constantly looking for the 3D for the validation of what you have inside, well, there is usually, most of the time there is a delay in when you shift it on the inside to when it shows on the outside. I don't know what the timeline is. It depends on what it is, what you've done, blah, blah, blah. Too many options. I can't talk about this. There's no timeline I can tell you about. But there is a shift on the inside first, and then eventually it shows up on the outside. Sometimes it's instant. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it takes months. Amanda, one of her first videos was about her asking for a bottle of red wine, and it took 6 weeks for her boyfriend to bring it. Who knows? Universe, no clue. And that's a simple thing to manifest, right? But again, everything is already created. You already have it on the inside, and the outside world is completely separate. You have to realize that. Stop making the outside world the same as the inside world. The inside world is a completely different world than the outside world, and they're only connected because the inside world eventually will reflect out at all times. That is manifesting always works. When we eventually align with it, it will show up on the outside. Second part of that sentence. How do you accept those things and go with the flow knowing you can create an opposite scenario? Acceptance is not a can or can't. It's not an ability. Acceptance is something that is really easy. You can accept it. You can't accept anything. You just have to want to. Just like forgiveness is a choice. Most of what we go through is a choice. Forgiveness, acceptance, belief. Everything in our life is usually a choice. Changing, wanting to change, everything is a choice. And that's the real power we have. It's a huge power to have. So choice is just so powerful, and choosing to accept things that are around you and that you don't like. You have to accept the right now in order to get to the other part. If you don't accept what you have right now, it's kind of a paradox. It's what Amy always says. If you don't accept what you have right now, you're never ever going to get the other thing. Never. I will promise you, you will not get what you want if you don't accept the right now. And that's why you guys are coming to me and Caleb and Amy, because there's a bunch of people out there that tell you that you just have to do affirmations. It is not true. Manifesting isn't just about affirmations. It really isn't. You have to accept what is going on right now. And part of that is all of your circumstances. Let's say it's an SP, right? Because most of you are here for SP things. Let's say SP. Accept that you are not currently with your SP. Accept that it looks like they don't want you. Accept that right now they don't want you. Again, with acceptance, you want to accept what is, not make something up, right? One person was going through a divorce, and she said, I said to her, you have to accept that you are going through a divorce, because the divorce was active and it was towards the end of the divorce. And she says, oh, okay. So she was really triggered just by the word divorce. And I said, you have to accept that you are going through a divorce. You are getting a divorce. You have to accept it. So then she started feeling better. And then a couple of days later, she emailed me, oh, Babs, shouldn't I say, I accept that it looks like I'm getting a divorce? I'm like, no, you are in the middle of a divorce. You have to accept that this divorce is happening. You have to accept that you're going through a breakup. You have to accept that you are broken up. You have to accept that it looks like they don't want you. That is something right now. It looks like it. It feels like it. You don't know that they want you or don't want you. So you have to figure out what the situation is, and you have to accept the situation itself. Work, love, money, accept what is, not what you don't know that is, because that is you making a new assumption. Because if I say, well, the fact is, he's told me he doesn't want to be with me right now for whatever reasons, right? Your SP doesn't want to be with you right now. I accept that my SP doesn't want to be with me right now. Since nothing is permanent in manifesting. In the universe, nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary. Emotions, situations, anything is temporary, which is great, right? Also kind of scary, because that means good things can go away, and they do, especially if your core beliefs are off. This is probably going to be a longer video. But this is just a lot of questions in that one post he posted. Anyway, you have to accept what is. So you are broken up. I accept that we are broken up. I accept that right now my person doesn't want to be with me. But if you're worried that they don't want you, but they haven't actually said that they don't want you, then you go, I accept that it looks like they don't want me right now. Right now is always a great phrase to add, because it reminds you and your subconscious that it's just right now. It's just temporary. Just right now, at the moment, in this minute, in this hour, no further along. We do not look into the future. We don't think about the future. We want to stay in the now. So at right now, I accept that it looks like my SP doesn't want me right now, but I don't know if that's true or not. Don't make an assumption that they don't want you just because you're not together. It doesn't mean that they don't want you. Someone can want you, but not want to be with you right now. That is a huge difference. Huge, 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 huge. So let's observe. I'm currently not with my SP in this scenario. I accept my SP currently or right now does not want to be with me. That's okay. It's just temporary. But it also means that while this story is playing out, and this is part of what he asked in the question, if this story is in place, then the opposite is also already existing. You don't have to create that you're already together, because the law of opposite states everything exists at the same time, right? Meaning that while you guys are broken up, in the other reality, it's a multiverse, multiple realities, right? In the other reality, you are already together. So you just want to find the shift that gets you into the reality, right? Shifting back and forth. We're always shifting into different realities all the time. That's how sometimes things can manifest like this. You're shifting always. Even when you're not deliberately manifesting, you're always shifting. So acknowledge and accept out loud. I accept that right now we are not together. I accept that my person doesn't want to be with me right now. I accept that we're not in a relationship. I accept that I currently don't have my dream job. I accept that I hate that I don't have my dream job. You want to accept all the situations, but don't make up new assumptions. Like, oh, I accept that they don't want me. You don't know that. You don't know that. Stop it. But I accept that we are currently not together. Right now, we're not together. That is a fact. So look at what the facts are around you and go from there. And then you want to accept all the emotions that come with it. I accept that I'm really freaking upset that I'm not with my person. I accept that I'm really hurt that my person doesn't want to be with me right now. And acceptance is usually fairly fast. You do have to usually you have to do it a couple of times. You say these accept things. I do them out loud because that really tends to work through it quicker. Sometimes I do it in my head, but out loud for me is really great. I love acceptance. Acceptance is one of those instant things that once you accept it, you feel so much better. You have to accept all of your emotions. I will make another video about core beliefs and emotions as well. So you have to accept that you don't feel maybe good enough right now because they don't want to be with you. So one emotion can cause other emotions. For example, they currently, right now, your person, I accept that my SP doesn't want to be with me right now. I accept that. I accept that it makes me feel not good enough. It doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It just means that you feel like you're not good enough, which then the feeling of not good enough can cause you to get hurt. So then I go, I accept that I am hurt because I feel not good enough, that the person doesn't want to be with me. It sounds complicated, but when you're in it, it is much easier. And I promise you, acceptance is one of those instant magical things that will make you feel amazing because it doesn't make you feel crappy. Amy always says, what you resist persists. If there's a thought that keeps repeating over and over, it's because you're resisting the thought or the emotion behind it or the situation. It keeps going over and over and over. I had one person, they're currently not with their SP, and she kept thinking, oh my God, he doesn't want me, but there was no reason behind the not wanting. And then sometimes when we were looking for a reason, then it came up with random reasons that didn't even make sense. They just kept making themselves up, right? So I said, have you accepted that he doesn't want to be with you right now? And she goes, no. So she started accepting it, and that thought went away. That was the only thing creating the thought that she thought he doesn't want her. He doesn't want to be with her, not the want her. Doesn't want to be with her. Again, I'll get back to this post. So how do you accept those things and go with the flow, knowing you can create the opposite? First of all, again, go back to you already have it. That should take a huge load of pressure and stress off of you. Really believe you have it. There's a whole other video about that. Believe that you have it and know that you don't need it. I want it. I don't need it. Thank you, Amy. Amy said I can make a video about pretty much anything as long as I mention that she came up with it. So that's why I always mention Amy. Anyway, go with the flow is you know that you have it. Going with the flow means you believe and you know that you already have it. That is the meaning of going with the flow. And the acceptance, you can accept whatever you want. You just have to do it. You have to say, I accept this, even if the situation is what you don't want at all. That is especially when you need to accept it, is when you want something not at all. If you don't like your current situation, you have to accept, I accept that I don't like my current situation. I don't want to be here. I accept that I don't want to be here. And unless you accept everything what is right now, you cannot get to the other side. You cannot get over there. The grass will always be greener over there and you're going to be miserable here because you're not accepting what is right now. So important. Oh my God, one of the biggest lessons I had to learn. Okay, next one. The old story constantly wants to pop up and triggers me for sure. Accept what is. Also, you may want to start changing your core beliefs. I know there's a lot of new viewers and you guys are attracted to me because I teach what I teach and I say what I say. So watch all my core belief videos and start changing core beliefs. I promise the time you invest in it, even though it does take a couple of months to change it, you are changing a whole new you. And there are people out there, you can change core beliefs faster than a couple of months. You know what? I don't know that you can't. I have no proof for it. For me, it took a couple of months because that's how long it took to become a whole new person. And why would you speed that up? Because It is exhausting to change who you are from the very inside, from the ground up. It is exhausting. And if it had gone down any faster, I think it would have probably jumped off a bridge because it is overwhelming sometimes. Just read through some of these core belief video comments. Some of these people they're at the verge of not being able to handle it. But you can handle anything you want to. It's not you can't, you can, you don't want to. It's always a choice. And core beliefs get intense, but they're the most worth thing I have ever changed in my life because people treat me differently. And the people that have made it through the core belief changes, they're like, oh my God, that's my whole world changed. Like everyone treats me different. I'm getting the things, they're getting the things. It is fucking amazing. It's the biggest, most amazing thing I've changed in my life. But you are becoming a whole new person. You're learning how to set boundaries. You're learning how to deal with emotions properly because codependency does that, and codependency comes with the core beliefs. So you're dropping a lot of bad habits, and then you're dropping these bad or negative beliefs, and it takes time, and it's okay that it takes time because there is no rush. The only one who wants to rush is your conscious you. Your subconscious is all the time in the world because, as time we know is an illusion, doesn't mean that time doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist the way that we humans think it does. It's not a straightforward timeline. It goes all over and multiple realities, and we'll go backwards and forwards, and it's already there, and then it wasn't, blah, 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 right? Anyway, so change your core beliefs. And the old story constantly wanting to pop up and triggering you is you might not have accepted what is. You have to accept the old story. Otherwise, it's still the current story. If you haven't accepted the old story, it's still the current story, right? If it's still here. So you have to accept what is, accept what happened, and then start saying the new thing. Do not come up with a new story before you have accepted the current or old story, because there's no old story. If the old story is still in place, it's still the current story. Doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't make sense, sorry. Okay, and then he says, I can create from here, but I want to create from there. But I don't know how to get over there, if that makes sense. I'm like, yes, it makes sense, but this is about acceptance. You can't get over there if you're not accepting right here. So this was a great comment to make a video about. If you're posting on my channel, just be warned, I will not mention names, but I will maybe make videos about questions, which I've done a couple of times. Some of these questions are really great. They're all great. They're all great questions. But I mean, for a video, because they're specific enough. I can only make videos about very specific things because if I go usually too general about certain things, I can be very general. About certain things, I cannot be general. It's harder to make a video because it's different for every person. But this one is great because it's about acceptance and core beliefs and forgiving. So forgiveness is one of those big things you really want to learn, and that you tend to learn while you're working through the core beliefs too. Because what's the point in beating yourself up and being angry about it? And that's a waste of time and energy. Dear poster, I would like you to accept everything we talked about, and I want you to change your core beliefs. Because what his question was, how can I create these things if I didn't even envision them? Well, honestly, I would say 80 to 90% of what we manifest on a daily basis is not something you did on purpose. Deliberate manifesting is very hard work in the sense that it takes a lot of energy it's not hard, but it's work. So we have to do things on purpose, and that's work, right? I apologize. Talking makes me burp, apparently. I made that up. Anyway, so most of our manifestations are from the subconscious programming. That's why I always say change your beliefs, not just the core beliefs, but your beliefs, not just the stories. As long as you're just changing stories, that is mostly a very temporary fix on things. You want to go back and find the belief that's causing the story. And a lot of times it's the core beliefs that cause a lot of these dumb, annoying, awful stories. So first of all, start with the core beliefs. And while you're working through core beliefs, you will have a lot of other beliefs that come up. Again, core beliefs, very few of them. The most common ones are I'm good enough, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I'm deserving. There could be a bunch of other ones, but usually something like I am loved comes from these other beliefs. Or I am worthy, I am respected, I am understood. Those usually come from the other ones, right? And think of the opposite of them. I just don't want to say the negative beliefs out loud because I changed all of mine and I don't want to make them true again. So, most of what we manifest on a daily basis is something that the subconscious has programmed and is now reflecting out. You don't have to worry about it, right? That's why I want you to change these beliefs, because it'll reflect out and you don't have to worry about all these stories. So what you envision or visualize or affirmed for, that's a fraction of what actually manifests. Every day is a manifestation. Every minute is a manifestation. And every single minute is your worst case scenario, as Amy taught me very early on. Which means that if it's not that bad right now, that's the worst case scenario for right now. I'm like, oh, I can live with that. That's pretty decent. If everyone is dying around you and you're dying and everyone's sick, that's a pretty bad worst case scenario. So maybe change your core beliefs ASAP. I hope that's not happening to you. That sucks. But most of what manifests on a daily basis, again, stop saying you're creating things. You're not creating shit. It's already been created, and that should take a huge load of stress off of you. Oh, I don't have to worry about creating it. It's already there. I just have to manifest it. Manifesting means it actually kind of comes together in the 3D. Your visualization actually then projects out. That's manifesting. Look up the word and the definition of manifest. You're not creating anything. You are just pushing it out, manifesting it out. It eventually will reflect out what is in your world. Therefore, you don't have to worry about creation. And when you have your belief system straightened out and it's mostly positive, obviously there's always going to be negative beliefs in our life, and we just want to work through them constantly. But the core beliefs, usually if you keep them updated and regular and remind yourself once in a while that you are good enough and worthy and deserving, they stay in place. Unless you try really hard to undo them, which I don't think you will. Because if you have gone through it, you know how hard it is and how painful it can be. But it's so worth it. And it's so worth it. So you want to get your beliefs in place so that they automatically push everything out. Because I would say 80 to 90% of what manifests on a daily basis is not deliberate. It is automatic. And that's your subconscious programming. So you want to change that. I hope that answered the question. I did write him back, but I thought this was a great video, and this is actually one of the longer ones. And I hope it helped. Leave me some comments. I love how active you guys have been. I love all the comments I've been getting. I fucking love it, and I love teaching you guys, and I love coaching you guys. I love sessions. So keep it coming. I love being there for you, and I love being able to help you through this. I've changed all my core beliefs. I've changed a bunch of other beliefs. I've dropped a million horrible habits that make me miserable. I think I'm okay for the most part. Obviously, we always have stuff that we don't like and we want to change, but I think I'm okay for right now. Since everything is temporary, I'm okay for right now. Have a great day. Bye.